universe. And if you find you're tuning into a wave, well then I don't know much about the insane.
Welcome in, everybody.
Hello, friends.
Hello, friends. This is Spiritual Philosophy Chatter with the Joneses. I'm Danny Jones.
And I'm Samantha Jones.
And welcome to anybody listening, new or old. We appreciate it.
Hello, hello.
And here we are, episode 21.
21. Lucky number 21. Yeah.
What is the title?
This is Manifesting Your Destiny.
Oh, I like this one.
I know. And I wasn't really wanting to do this one this early in the show. Like, I personally wanted to do it later, like 40, maybe 50, because I wanted to manifest more first to show people. But then we started talking about it, and we thought that showing you before it happens is better than showing you after.
Yeah, I think because my kind of thought process in it was, it's easy to tell somebody after you've achieved something, oh, I got this.
Right.
I did this, without any kind of understanding or explanation ahead of time of what you were actually doing.
Right.
So this way, now you can let people know what you're doing. And if you fail, you fail. And if you succeed, then you prove that this works.
Exactly. And you guys you followed along with our story so far and watched me as a medium grow over these last episodes and watched us grow and learn. And so we thought only fair to allow you in a little bit more of what's actually going on and where we hope to go and manifest so you can see it work.
Right.
Yeah.
I like that idea.
I do too. I think it's cool. I don't know why.
I think it kind of makes you a little more vulnerable,
yes.
And humble, because you are saying, look, I'm just like every ordinary person,
right?
But trying to create a path for myself,
right?
Based on the skills and the gifts I have in life.
Exactly. Letting people take a little bit closer look into our lives, which is hard. But for me, from the beginning, I've heard my mom say, share your story, because I know that when it comes time for me to write a book, I'm going to have to share a whole lot more than what we're sharing in this episode.
Oh, yeah.
So I might as well just, let our listeners hear it.
Yeah, you couldn't cram it in an hour.
Nope. You got to work up too. So before I have a couple things.
Oh, you want to recap last week now?
Yeah, let's do that. So I wanted to read a comment from last week. Last week we did our Planet in Crisis, which I can tell for both you and I hope for some of our listeners, that is even been a bigger eye-opener. I've seen you do things over the last week that you weren't doing before, almost like this episode, that episode made you think.
Right.
Me too. When I walk dogs, if I see trash, I've been picking it up and throwing it away.
Yeah.
Just simple things like that to help. So I'm hoping that it did that for some of our listeners too. But here's a comment from last week.
Cool.
This is from Lynn. She said, good information on this and all your podcast. It's so infuriating and sad that people don't believe in global warming. The effects are catastrophic and humans are to blame. Thank you for your information.
Oh, thanks, Lynn.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you for listening. We like to spread truths and,
Right.
And then I wanted to mention a comment that we got last night. I did tell you about this briefly, but this is about, we like to hear your ideas for show episodes. So one of our listeners, Sherry, she sent us an idea for a show episode, and that is about Atlantis and lost civilizations.
Yeah.
And so you had mentioned that before, and you listened to a book that touched a little bit on it. So I just wanted to let our listeners know that we like that suggestion.
I love the idea.
Yeah.
We could talk about Atlantis, the Mayan civilization, because again, remember how, what year was it?
2012.
Yeah. The Mayan calendar only went this far, but there is a lot of questions regarding what happened to the civilization, because they all kind of just vanished at once.
Yeah. Yeah. It would be interesting to know. I don't know much about it. So I'm looking forward to looking into that.
I'm willing to share what I read. I mean,
right.
And I tend to believe it.
Right. Well, maybe we'll watch something
some people may not
first, or
right.
Yeah.
So. That was cool, though. That's a great idea, Sherry. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Sherry, and everybody else. Send us your ideas. We love them. It helps us. Another one that we got last week was spirit guides.
Yeah.
And I was thinking that would be good coming up soon.
Yeah,
Good
you
one.
could share a lot on that.
Yeah, for sure. And teach people how to learn about your spirit guides and communicate with them.
Right.
So,
Great ideas.
yeah. And then the other thing that I have is that I wanted to make an announcement
Uh-oh.
that I have started a blog. The
Bravo. I hear your mom jumping.
Yes. I haven't published it yet. Actually, I've tried, but something isn't working. It won't save, it won't publish. And that tells me I'm not done. It's not ready to be released yet.
Right.
So I'm still working on it. And when it's where it's supposed to be, that button will push
Right.
and it'll be published. And I don't know when that'll be yet. But the name of the blog is There's No Place Like Home. And in the first couple of entries, I will get into where that name came from, because the story behind it is very interesting. Because the name itself, to me, doesn't make a lot of sense. But when you hear the story, it does.
Right.
It makes sense. So anyways, so hopefully by next week, I'll say, hey, the blog's up. Here's the website. But I wanted to let people know that's coming.
Cool.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Thank you.
I think it's important.
I'm excited. It's a lot of extra work, but it is what it is. That's what you got to do.
To touch back on what you said a few minutes ago, and that is, you really can't, in an hour on this show, get that involved in what's really transpired in your life from the time you knew you had a gift to communicate with animals
Right.
till now.
No.
Everything in between, even if we took it topic by topic, we would have to do part 1, 2, 3, 4.
There's been a lot.
Yeah, I think it would, this is better because people can take it as they want,
Right.
in the amount of time they want.
Right.
Maybe some of your blogs are shorter, maybe some of them are longer,
Exactly.
but
Yeah.
I think it's a good way because you can get a lot more specific.
I think so too. I am looking forward to it, and I know it'll become more natural, just like this. At first, I was nervous with this, and now it comes a lot more natural for both of us.
But being on the spot to try to articulate one of your thoughts is harder than being able to take your time and find the right words, adjectives, verbs, whatever you need.
Yes, you're so right, because we just go, we talk. We don't do a whole lot of editing with our shows because we want you to hear us en natural.
Well, and we don't claim to be doctors and specialists.
No.
We're just philosophy-chattering. We're giving our personal insight, opinion, belief, experience.
But
that's it.
There are a lot of times that I will listen to an episode and go, man, I wish I would have said this.
Right.
So the blog will give me the ability to still say those things without being like, here's an episode all about the stuff that I didn't get to say in other episodes.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. So anyways, I'm looking forward to it, and I'll let
awesome.
you guys know when it's ready.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. So are we ready for episode 21?
We are
Manifesting Your Destiny.
manifesting your destiny.
This is it's an amazing one. It's a confusing one. Rewarding,
Yes.
taxing. It's everything. It's weird.
It's a
but
roller coaster.
It is.
Manifestation is a roller coaster. And I want to say before we start that I'm not preaching. We're not preaching. We're on this journey just like everybody else. And we're learning and we're making headway and we're making mistakes. And so we're not like telling you what to do. We're telling you what we've done and what may help you. But at the same time, we make mistakes too. There's also times, and I was told ahead of time to point this out, so I'm assuming it's going to happen at some point, that I start talking and it sounds like I'm lecturing. But what's actually happening is that the other side is talking through me. So I don't have control over it.
Right.
So if you hear me go into that, blah, 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 that's the other side coming through and talking to you.
Yeah. They tend to do that.
They do, and I hate it. And all the time I say it to you, I say it to my friend Chelsea all the time. I'm like, trust me, I promise you, I'm not lecturing you. I am just, that's how it comes out.
Right.
So, yeah. So first, let me read you a couple of definitions. Okay. What manifestation is according to, let's say, a regular dictionary like Webster's. Okay. It's an event, action, or object that clearly shows or embodies something. That says really nothing
That was
to
the
me.
definition of what?
Of manifestation.
And say it again?
An event, action, or object that clearly shows or embodies something.
Wow.
I know.
I thought they could have dig a little deeper on that one, but okay.
Last night when I was doing this research, I'm telling you, I sat here and I looked at that and I was like, how do I explain that? And the fact is I can't. That's
Right.
Webster's version.
Yeah.
This is another dictionary's version from a more spiritual standpoint.
Right.
It's a public display of emotion or feeling or something something theoretical that's made real.
Okay.
Okay. But I want to share kind of in my words what it is, because none of these really fit. I mean,
Yeah.
a theoretical, okay, yes, you're making something out of nothing virtually.
Right.
But really, like for me, it's changing any situation with your decisions. It's the laws of attraction.
Yeah.
It's that simple. Is it magic? Is it something beyond what we comprehend? Probably. Right. Does it work? Oh, yeah.
Right.
Oh, absolutely. 100%.
Yeah, I mean, it can be, it's not like manifesting the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. It can be similar to that, but you got to be realistic.
Right.
I mean, you can manifest outcomes.
Right.
You can manifest, you can manifest tangibility.
Right.
Things that are tangible.
Right.
That are necessary for you, that you need.
Yes. I think where we get caught up is how and
Mm-hmm.
and is this really possible? And you and I have had a lot of instances in our lives, not just since we've been together or since we've been doing this show even, that we have manifested a lot. And so we're going to show some of those things in this episode.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, as far as what we're doing in our lives, is we're trying to manifest our dreams, manifest our destiny. What are our dreams? Well, for me, I want to, honestly, I want to change the world. Can I change the world? I don't know. Probably not. Maybe I can. I don't know. But I am going to do everything that I can to try.
Well, it depends. First, let's start with change the world.
Right. Well,
okay.
Yes. Let me explain what I mean,
Right.
what I want for my life. For me, even if a few people took better care of their pets, it would be successful for me.
That's changing the world.
Yes. If one person starts recycling, I've made a difference.
Right.
If I'm able to connect somebody to their loved ones on the other side, I've made a difference.
Right.
But I don't want to just do these in small increments. I want to do it on a larger scale, which is why I love this show and why I love the blog. I didn't want to start either one. I didn't. I thought it was a dumb idea, but these were ideas given to me by my mom on the other side. And so what do? I, for a long time, pretend like I don't hear them. But they don't stop.
Right.
Those for me don't stop. She's telling me to pursue my dreams, and this is how to do it, and showing me ways to do it. But they're not just handing it to me. I have to manifest it.
Yes.
And you're doing the same thing.
Yes. And manifesting, some people might look at footwork, like,
Right.
oh, I have to put the work in, the footwork.
Yes.
That is part of manifesting. You
It
can't,
is.
a lot of it is mental and spiritual.
Yes.
and intent.
Yes.
Like, what is your intent? And if it's pure and coming from a good place, most likely, if you don't give up, you will manifest that.
Absolutely.
It will come to you.
Yes.
And a lot of people could look in their life is like, let's take, for example, somebody that's like, oh my gosh, I'm behind on some bills or something, and I don't know how I'm going to do this, how I'm going to get by.
Right.
But something's going to give, like they might say to themselves, something is going to give. It's going to land in my lap when I
Yes.
need to, at the right time or at the last minute, whatever it is. It's like you're doing that.
Right.
You're bringing it to yourself, even in a timeline that you feel is
Right.
necessary.
Well,
And then all of a sudden, boom, how
There
many
it
people
is.
could say that something came through at the last minute for me. Yeah. And I was able to pay the bill that I needed to, or take care of something I had to take care of. Those kind of things.
Right. Well, maybe I should share the story about what I did this week.
Yeah.
Because I set out to prove this. I set out to prove that manifestation is possible. Last week I was in a bad mood pretty much all week. I was down. I felt like this was a slow summer for pet sitting. I haven't been doing as many readings. Money hasn't been what I've wanted it to be. I've been really, really down about it. And then Friday night, I said, I'm not doing this anymore. Like, all I've done is complain all week. I haven't brought anything good to myself. I'm done with this. I said, so I'm going back to spiritual Sammy, you know, and I worked really hard over the weekend to get back into that spot. So then Monday morning, I said, okay, here's our show on manifestation. I want to prove it's real. Okay. And I swear to you on everything that I have that this story is 100% true. Okay. So Monday morning, I said, please, universe, bring me money. It doesn't have to be a lot of money, just enough money to help me feel a little bit more comfortable, pay some bills that, you know, are maybe a little bit higher this month, or, you know. So I said, really, I know you're going to do this for me. That's the number one thing you have to believe. If you don't believe, it doesn't happen. So I said several times over the next few days, I believe it. I believe that you're going to bring me money. I don't know how you're going to do it, but you are.
Right.
So a couple of days after this, I get a text, or actually it was on Facebook, from a guy in our area that needed pet sitting for his dogs. And it was for this coming weekend. And I was like, okay, sure, fine. I didn't want to do it because of the location of where he lives. It's on a hill, which we know has every wildlife that you can imagine in the area. And I just didn't want to deal with it. So I bitched about it all day yesterday. I don't want to do, but I knew that if I wasn't supposed to do this that the universe would stop me. So I was like, all right, fine. So I went out and I met with the guy, and it turns out he's going away for 2 weeks starting tomorrow. And he wants me to visit twice a day. And usually for new clients, I have a 50% deposit up front. This guy threw cash at me for the entire thing.
Wow.
And now I can pay the bills that I was worried about. But there was more to this story, because there was also confirmation in my eyes that they were saying to me, we helped you because you asked, because you believed, we helped you. When this guy started going over his information, like alarm codes and gate codes,
right,
the first number that he told me was my mom's death day. He wrote it down on a piece of paper. It was 0413. It was her death day, right?
Yeah.
So then he starts entering it to show me that it works, and it doesn't work. And he's like, I can't believe I forgot my own code. And I'm like, well, of course you did, because my mom told you and you just didn't know, 0413. Anyways, then he figures out the right code. It's our address. I couldn't say anything after that. After being thrown that money and shown those things, I was like, whoa, they did exactly what I asked. Yeah. They brought me enough money to make me feel comfortable with the bills, and they showed me that I can do it, that it's really real. And they proved, hopefully a little bit to our audience, that it is very possible. Now, I wasn't sitting there and saying, oh, please let money fall from the sky.
Right.
You have to put work into it. Mm-hmm. It's not just going to come. Somebody's not just going to walk up to you and smack you across the face with $1,000.
And you weren't asking for a winning lottery ticket
no.
to go spend lavishly.
Exactly.
That's what I mean, your intent. What was your intent?
Your intent. And that's
the
very
purity
important.
of that it has a lot to do with what you can manifest. Now, you're just talking about money, okay,
right,
in that instance. But, it could be a situation where you're like, oh, my car's broken down and I need a ride to this, and nobody's available. And the last minute, boom.
Right.
Something becomes available to help you.
Right.
You can look at that in your life as just coincidence. And that's okay.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with that. The only thing that I feel like if you do that is you're missing out on the true connection of what's going on in this world that you can't see.
Right.
The truth, that thin veil, that if you lift it,
right,
there's things at work for reasons, always. It's not just, a ball floating in space.
Absolutely. You know? And sometimes we don't even know what it is we want to manifest. We just want to manifest a better way of life, or, or we don't know what the desired outcome is. Like you and I were talking about this yesterday, about it doesn't have to be a specific outcome. Like, let's talk about relationships for a second, okay? Because I know that there are people that try to manifest relationships with specific people. And if you're not supposed to be with a specific person, you can manifest it all you want, and it may happen for a short time, but in the end, it's not going to be what you wanted, because that's not the person for you.
Right.
So instead, even if you're manifesting this particular person, the universe still knows that you really ultimately are looking for love. You're looking for that match for yourself. And you may have to go through some people that aren't the right match, but the universe will take you to the person that you are supposed to be with, especially if you ask for it the right ways, Right. But if you don't, again, it's okay. It will still go in the direction it needs to go. Now, there's free will. Free will fits right in here. Okay. That if you are in a relationship with somebody that you're not supposed to be with, and you're just like, but there's nothing I can do. I can't leave. Well, then you're creating your own reality.
Yeah.
And you're stopping manifestation from being able to happen because you're not believing that it can happen.
Yeah, that could go for careers too. People believing that this is all there is.
Right.
And then they stay unhappy in a situation that could have been changed long before.
Absolutely.
But it has to do with, like you said, about your belief, and it can be your faith, your belief, if it's faith in your religion, or, belief in the universe or whatever. I think it's very important to point out, which I've mentioned before, is that in this, when you're trying to manifest something, you can't just hope. Hope is a great word, but hope carries no energy.
Right.
When you believe, when you put all your faith into something, you are now giving it that energy that it needs in order to do its work.
Yes.
So it's very easy, and I go through it a lot, to doubt yourself.
Yes.
Especially as an artist, that you're exposing yourself, you're sharing things, music or art, and it's vulnerable.
Right.
But you have to believe, kind of like the same thing you said, is that, can I change the world with this? Probably not collectively all at once.
Right.
But I can affect people on this planet.
Right.
And that, in essence, is changing the world.
Yes.
If people worked together to do that, then the synchronicity would start to line up, and everybody would do it. But
that's exactly
it's not
right.
popular.
Right.
So,
Right. And, life is this journey, and you don't always know what it is that you're striving for, what your dreams are, what your goals are. Like, really, I wouldn't have guessed 10 years ago that I would now be a psychic medium with a podcast. I never in a million years would have imagined that. But I look back and I see that I did manifest all of this for myself, just in stages. And that's where we get ahead of ourselves too, is that we want to skip a bunch of stages. Mm-hmm. So, for example, like, I didn't know I was manifesting at the time, because really manifesting is a lot like prayer. It really is.
Yes.
You just have to have the faith.
Right.
That what you're praying for, what you're manifesting is going to happen. So I really, long story short, I really wanted out of my first marriage, but I didn't know how. I didn't know how at all. And I asked my mom, I asked the universe, help me find a way to get out of here. And that's exactly what the universe did. Now, in the process, my grandmother had to get sick, because that was the next step.
Right.
I had to move out here to take care of my grandmother. So that had to happen, and I manifested it, but I didn't manifest it. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
I didn't manifest that, obviously. I didn't want her to be sick. I wanted somebody to love me. I wanted to be in a relationship that I had never had before. I wanted that now. Back then. Right. I wanted to go from a marriage to that relationship.
Right.
But that wasn't how it was supposed to work for me. And so instead of going from a marriage into another relationship with the wrong person, I was given the opportunity to find the right person. But it took time. It doesn't just happen overnight. And I think that's where people, they lose sight of what's possible because they want it right now. And I talk to a lot of people, especially women, that are like, I want to find my soulmate right now.
Right.
Well, it doesn't work like that because the universe has a bigger plan for you. Right. You have to, I don't know, I don't want to say search because a lot of times that person comes to you.
Right.
But you can't hold on to something that isn't right because you feel like you're not going to find somebody else or find the soulmate because the universe, it does. It has that way of bringing you what you need, especially if you ask for it in the right time.
Yeah, I agree.
I needed that time between my divorce and when you and I reconnected. It was a huge growing period, but at the time I didn't want it for the most part. You know, it didn't. But now I look back and yeah.
My situation was similar. That I was in a very unhealthy marriage and relationship for 18 years, and it was abusive, and I wanted to get out for a long time, and I didn't know how.
Right.
And I did. I finally just did. I'm sure I was manifesting. I don't know now how I was doing it then,
right.
But I'm sure I was manifesting a way,
right.
You know, just trying to figure a way to just get out and watch my daughter go through the same thing, you know, essentially. And somehow I think she was doing it too, trying to find a way out.
Right.
And it worked.
Yeah, you do. You manifest those things with your thoughts sometimes without even knowing it. You really do.
Right.
It's the negative thoughts that set you behind.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But I was the same. I wanted, you know, I would kind of daydream or picture. I couldn't really picture who the other person would be, what they would look like, but I knew that I wanted a particular type of relationship.
Right.
Different than the one that I had.
Right.
Because the one that I had just was not working.
And I think that was a part of the reason why, like, you need that time in between a marriage and another relationship really is to date the wrong people, because then you see what you do and you don't want.
Yeah.
One of the things that when I was doing some research trying to get some ideas that it said was to, when you're manifesting, ask for traits or qualities that you find important in a person. But here's the thing. We were talking about this the other night, that when I was first dating and on dating websites, one of the things that was important for me was to have the same kind of hobbies, things that we liked. I'm a huge Disney freak. I didn't want to date somebody that wasn't. I put my foot down on the one that you had to be an animal lover. But some of these things, like the things like myself, like at the time I was really into The Walking Dead and those types of things, trying to find somebody that's just like you is not only really hard, but you're limiting yourself.
You're not exposing yourself to anything.
No. You and I knew each other.
Right.
And so when we reconnected, it was different. We have very different qualities and very different likes and dislikes. We're like that Paula Abdul song, Opposites Attract.
Right.
At first, we were very much like that, very different.
Right.
And then when you become a couple, you start to grow together and you take on each other's likes and dislikes. One of the things that I've loved the most about our relationship is exposing you to the things that I love and being exposed to the things that you love. But if you're always looking for that person that is just like you,
right,
you're never going to be exposed to anything else.
Right.
You have to open your mind.
Right.
And be open to what the universe is showing you and bringing you. Because when you and I started dating, I was also dating somebody else. And he was all of those things. He liked all of those things that I liked.
Yeah.
But I knew that he wasn't the right one for me. I knew that. And the universe stepped in a very strong way because I had to make a decision. And even though I knew the decision was you, the universe stepped in and made it so that I couldn't see that other person. He was traveling. His family was in town. Things started happening so that you and I could build a closer relationship. So if you let the universe do these things for you, it will. It'll bring you the right person. Right. You still have to make decisions. Right. Don't think you don't, because you still do.
Yeah.
But they will really show you, and they'll put roadblocks, and you can still bust your way through those roadblocks. Right. I still could have been like, when that other guy got back from vacation, been like, well, I'm going to go back. But I didn't.
Right.
And an interesting part of that story, and I've told you this, is that when I broke it off with him, he told me, because I didn't know if you were really ready for a relationship yet. And I told him that. I said, I don't know, but I have to take a risk. I have to. And he said, you told me at one point that everything that you've asked for, everything you've ever wanted, you've had it. So don't doubt yourself on this one. And he was right. I had said that. Right. And I did. I pursued our relationship, and it wasn't easy at first, but I knew that that's where the universe was pushing me.
Right.
So they will tell you, they will give you signs, and they will push you in the direction you're supposed to go.
Right. I think even for me, when I was going through my divorce and, seeing people dating or whatever, and then got reconnected with you, even though we knew each other, it's not like we knew each other real well.
Right.
I mean, we maybe had a couple times we were around each other and talked, but not a lot.
Yeah, it wasn't a lot.
Not a lot. Mm-mm. But I felt like I was getting this kind of message like she's the one, and I didn't want to accept that yet.
Right.
I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready.
No, you weren't ready
to commit completely. I was just, I don't want to say sowing my oats, but
it's totally natural.
I just was, I came out of 18 years of something that was extremely unhealthy, and I was scared to make that same mistake again.
Right.
And especially now that I was responsible for a child that I was going to have to blend with somebody else, it made it scary.
And what's interesting about that is I actually believe that was something that I manifested, because I knew when I went into my next relationship that I wanted to have a child of some kind. I really didn't want my own. That wasn't really on my agenda. I wanted somebody that had a child that was past that age. And that's exactly what I got.
Yeah, that's funny.
Exactly what I got. So it is very possible to do these things. I mean, you can see from our past that you can. And so now, again, we're going to show you from where we are now that you can manifest anything. But when we were talking about this last night, I think it was, and all of a sudden it came into my mind about that Daughtry song, Home. And one of the lines in that is, be careful what you wish for, because you just might get it all, and then some you don't want.
Yeah.
And that is another thing, too, is that you have to be careful of your wording on some of these things as well, because you can manifest things that you don't want, especially if you think that you want something bad enough and go after it and it's not the right thing. But that lyric came to me last night really strongly.
Yeah, we were talking about that earlier, too, about musicians that made it at a very young age, and how many of them were manifesting that in their life internally as well, have it happen and don't realize what they actually were asking for.
Yes.
It all came, and it was too much to handle.
Right.
And so either you just, ride off into the sunset and never seen again, or OD, or whatever the situation is. But I'm kind of glad for me that, in my life, I've been working at the music aspect pretty hard for a good 20, 30 years. Not 20 years, probably 30 years. And looking at that and kind of the statistics and how that works in a lot of people's lives, I see that for me, that at 20 years old, I wouldn't have been ready.
No.
Not only was I not ready musically, but I wasn't ready personally. Mature, my level of maturity, what I was really seeking, now I'm at a point in my life where that feels a lot more pure. I'm looking to just get off on the connection.
Right.
That's for me. I want to feel that energy of playing in front of hundreds, if not thousands of people, to feel that connection. It really, would I like to make a living at it? Sure. I could make a living at it and just afford to rent this house forever and I'd be content.
Right, exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But would I like to manifest a little more for myself and my family? Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to lie. That's the goal, is to always achieve more, but in this balance of it is keeping my intention and my purity right, that part. If I can share really quick, when Samantha and I first lived together after dating for a little while, I sold my house and I moved into her apartment. And I hadn't lived in an apartment for years. And I hated it. I hated it. So we stayed there for a while. And finally I was like, do you think maybe we could go rent a house somewhere? So she was open to it. You were open to it. And so we did some searching and looking around. And we got to this place. And it was this... At this time, Gypsy Brown had just kind of started, and we were paying weekly to go rehearse at some rehearsal studio out here. Not that it's a huge chunk of change, but we were each spending probably $100 a month.
Yeah, probably.
On it. And so we're looking at houses to rent, and we come across this place, and it's got this extra kind of big room. And immediately I saw it, and it was like I didn't even look at you or ask you.
No.
I just said to the lady, I'll give you cash deposit right now, because it clicked.
Yeah.
Like something fast forward in my mind, and I could see it now.
Right.
What's going on in here now. I could almost feel it. I couldn't see it with my own eyes. I could feel it and with my mind, my third eye. Mm. And something said to me, if you build it, they will come.
Right.
So, though that sounds cliche, yes, it's from a movie. But what they were telling me is this is your chance to manifest your destiny. Mm-hmm. And this is part of it. We're giving you a blank canvas, a room that you can do what you want with it. You can let it collect dust and keep it as a storage room, or you can make something productive happen within these four walls. Mm-hmm. So you fast forward to, this is like, 2013?
When we moved in here, it was 2014.
14, okay. Yeah. So till now, and then maybe about a year ago or something, one of the band members' cousins, him and I were messing around, wanting to just mess around acoustically on the guitars together. So he came over one night, just me and him. And he commented when he walked in here. And he made, no, he didn't say that. I posted a picture on Facebook. He did come over here one night, but I posted a picture on Facebook about what I was doing to this place. And his comment was, if you build it, they will come.
Yeah.
And I was just completely floored. Like, that was their way of saying, you're on the right path.
Right.
What you heard in your mind, you've now heard it audibly come out of somebody else's mouth.
Yes.
They're telling you this.
Right.
For us. He's essentially telling you this for us.
Yes.
He doesn't know he's telling you that for us. We're making it come out of him because sometimes as humans, we need it to be real.
Yes.
Come from another human.
Yes.
Or something tangible. For me, it doesn't always have to be tangible. So that's a great example for me about what has transpired and the evolution of not only this room, but what's taken place in this room, even to this podcast.
Yeah. We had no idea when you started building this room that we were going to have a podcast in here too.
I thought it was just going to be the stupid room. I didn't realize I was going to somehow actually make something and start creating stuff out of here. Just the evolution in the band itself since we've come in here.
Right.
It's a nice feeling to say, hey guys, don't worry about the money aspect, I want you just to focus on what you do.
Right. Just play the music.
Just play the music. Mm-hmm. And the evolution in that in itself and the changes that have happened since the original 4 members, now it's only 3 of the original 4, and we're up to 5 guys and potentially 6 when we're done.
Yeah.
That is manifesting.
Absolutely.
Because it's all what it's tough for me because I can't tell the other guys in the group, this is what I hear and what I see.
Right.
I can only sort of lead by example and suggestion.
Leading by example is very important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that's hard.
Yeah.
But that's part of it. That's putting the work into manifesting your dreams. So have Samantha and I made $1 million off this podcast? Nope.
No.
Haven't made a penny.
No.
Have I made $1 million off of our music?
Oh.
Nope. Haven't made a penny. Have I made $1 million off my artwork? Nope. I've sold 2 prints.
Yeah.
I don't sell the originals, but I sell prints. Right. And so what I'm trying to express here is that you're listening and hearing us talk about us manifesting our life and our destiny and our dreams right now. We haven't actually gotten there.
Right.
But we're trying to be that example and lead by that example and suggestion of don't give up.
Don't give up.
Because how many people in this world would have gotten a lot further had they not given up?
That's a very good question. And we were talking about this a little bit ago about Walt Disney. Walt Disney is one of my idols. I love what he did in Disneyland. And
yeah, he's a great example.
Yes. Because, let's see, I wrote this down. I knew that I had heard this somewhere before, but he had tried to find investors to start with Mickey Mouse, right? Like, that was the very first step. And he submitted this to, I think it was 300 different possible investors before somebody said okay. And same with Disneyland. We were talking about that too. But
yeah, he started trying to find somewhere in 1932.
Yes.
It didn't open until 1956?
Right.
Okay.
And he didn't give up.
He didn't give up.
He didn't give up. Okay. But I didn't tell you this one. This because I wanted to watch your mind explode when I said this. Colonel Sanders, his recipe was rejected 1,009 times before somebody said yes to the Colonel.
Yep.
Can you imagine if he would have given up? And 1,000 times. Like, I threw this at you too. It was like if you had 100 different like managers or recording artists or whatever you want to call them that you presented to, and all 100 of them were like, no, you can quit right there. Sure. That's your own free will.
Yep.
But if you keep going, you may just reach the stars. You don't know until you try. Imagine if Walt Disney would have given up, even at the beginning with Mickey Mouse. If he was like, okay, at number 250, I'm giving up. That's it. We wouldn't have Mickey Mouse.
Right.
We wouldn't have Disneyland.
No, you wouldn't.
And that would change my life.
But see, and it wasn't just his efforts.
No.
He carried that inside, his intention to want to bring this to the world and affect people. That intention was pure.
Right.
And therefore, because he didn't give up, it was granted.
Yes.
It happened.
Yes.
And I believe that for the most part, for anybody in this life, if you have something of value to another human being, whether it's of monetary or spiritual or emotional value, if your intent is good and you put in that footwork and you don't give up and you keep that vision alive, you're going to get somewhere.
Yes.
And I'll stand here right now and say, we are going to get somewhere.
Yes, we are.
With everything that we're doing.
Yes.
And I can't tell you on what level.
We have no clue.
I'm not saying I'm going to have gold faucets and
I don't
travertine
really want that.
counters. Okay.
Nope, I don't want that.
I don't want that.
Mm-mm.
But I can say that our music will be heard by many, if not the world. And we will play in front of people. People will hear us talking about all this silly stuff on a greater scale. people will see my art on a greater scale.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not asking for anything in return. I don't want millions of dollars. Right. I want to earn a living. Whatever, the way I've presented it is what's best for my family.
Right.
Give me what's best for my family.
That's exactly right.
But let me have these dreams and pursue these avenues, not only to show my family that don't give up on your dreams, do what you love, but to show other people, friends, family, strangers, the world.
The naysayers.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people, honestly, I still say it sometimes. I'm 42 years old, and I'm just now beginning to really follow my dreams. Do I have time? Oh, yeah, I have time. I may not think I do because I'm middle-aged, but I have time.
That's perception.
That's perception. You have to change that. Right. You have to, the whole concept of believing, of surrendering, is honestly the most important thing when it comes to manifestation. You have to believe. I listened to a book. Let's see, I wrote it down what it was called. It's called Dear Universe, and it's by Sarah Prout. And I was listening to this to kind of try and get more ideas on where to go with this manifestation episode. And this lady, she lived in an abusive relationship in Australia and decided that she was going to leave her abusive husband, took her 2 kids, didn't have any money, could barely feed them. 10 years later, she's living in Las Vegas, making a 6-figure a year income with a new husband that treats her right and 4 kids. Wow. And that's wonderful. From her manifestation. It's from her not giving up. And I was so impressed with that book that I felt I wanted to share that. I haven't finished it. It has a lot of meditations in it, which is very important when it comes to manifestation. Learning to meditate and quieting your mind helps you be able to ask for what you need. It helps you to surrender, because that is another key point.
Yeah.
I found this article.
Also helps you to hear and see the signs that they'll throw at you to let you know you're headed in the right direction.
Exactly. And those signs, they will. That was like those numbers last night after the guy gave me the money, was my mom saying, see, you're on the right track. Just keep going. It's okay.
I think part of my manifestation process has been, I've hit this phase where I haven't been meditating as much. And like you said, that is super important because you will see and hear more.
Yes.
But a lot of those signs kind of died for me because I was put in a spot where they said, we need to see you just believe. We need to see you jump into that and not doubt.
True.
You know what I mean? I see some signs, but what I mean by that is like I could go through a day and see them every hour.
Right.
And that hasn't really been going on, mainly because I think there was a big decision I had to make and I didn't really know exactly what the right decision was. And I think part of that is they're like, you just need to believe that what you're manifesting is going to happen.
Right.
And all the rest of this is just water under the bridge.
Exactly.
It's those obstacles, those bumps in the roads.
Yep. That's exactly right. It's not as complicated as people make it out to be. It's actually pretty simple once you kind of learn how to do it and learn to let go.
Right.
You know, I found this article that if I remember, which I hope I do, I will share it on our page because I really enjoyed it and I just took some key points from it. But it's called 9 Principles of Conscious Manifestation, and it's by Sylvia Salo. And she lists the different things, the different steps that you need in order to properly manifest. And just to go over these, the first one is have a vision. You have to know what you want.
Yes.
You can't just be like, universe, bring me something. Mm-hmm. You have to know what your dreams are. And sometimes we don't know what our dreams are. And here's an interesting point. I told you this the other day. I've always been attracted to like the hippie-ish kind of lifestyle, the peace and love, the everything that we have going on here, that's what I've always been attracted to. But people make you feel like that's not the right way to live, like, being chill and with the universe and peace and love and all that. They make you feel like you're like,
right.
What they picture.
We label it as cliche.
Yeah. And I loved when I was a kid too, all of this metaphysical psychic stuff. But those are two things in my life I never thought could become a part of my life. And now I would consider myself a psychic environmentalist hippie. And I'm totally happy with that. Right. And maybe I manifested that over the years, because this is the person that I was supposed to be. It's about finding out who you are. Mm-hmm. You have to find out who you are and become that person, not caring what anybody else thinks, because I do not care what one single person thinks. I don't. This is
because the truth is, and you've thrown this up on Facebook before, is that my honest belief is that we are spirits having a human experience.
Yes.
Not humans having a spiritual experience.
Exactly. And that's the way I choose to live my life, you know? But you have to have that vision. You have to know what you want. And it takes time to build those things. But if you have some kind of even end result in your mind, you can work towards that. Right. But have that vision.
So vision.
Yes. Strong desires, which is, again, what we were just talking about. Mm-hmm. Clear intentions. Focus on what you want, not what you don't want. Have faith. If you lack the belief, you cannot manifest. It will block.
Yep.
Acceptance. Not giving up. Okay. Accepting what it is that the universe is bringing to you. Believing it's already true even before you have it. Don't focus on reasons why it won't work out. Just surrender to it.
Right.
Let's see. Taking action. Okay. For example, if you want to travel, you can show the universe that you really want to do this by maybe doing things like putting money aside. Then the universe is like, wow.
That's part of doing the footwork.
Right. You're doing the footwork. Yeah. You can't just expect the universe to do everything for you. You have to put the work in. But really the biggest thing, like I said, is detachment, surrendering. Stop obsessing about having it right now.
Right.
Let it happen in the how and when it's supposed to. And we've talked about this before, that we went to that other psychic, Thomas John, and he said, my mom specifically said that, stop focusing on the how and when and just believe it's going to happen. Right. And that has been the hardest thing for me in this journey.
Yeah, it has.
But you have to surrender. You have to.
You know, kind of, were you done with her list? I'm sorry. We were talking about that before, and that society puts this kind of label on us that if we haven't achieved something by like 20 or 30, you know, on some sort of phenomenal success level, that it's never going to happen.
Right.
That's not how it works.
No.
You can be successful at any point in your life. And again, you need to look at your perception of success.
Right.
So if you base everything off, like I said, travertine and gold faucets, well, then you're probably going to be disappointed.
You've got to bring it back down to a realistic level. And I'm not saying that the universe won't provide those things for you.
Right.
But do you need those things? No, you want those things.
No. Yeah.
It's what you need. It's like when I said, universe, bring me money to pay those bills. That's what I needed. And the universe provided for me what I need. You know,
I've always kind of been feeling more like you said, that since 20, I've changed. And now it's like, for all the selfish reasons of wanting to be more successful, now it's more, I want to connect. I want to affect. I want to leave a legacy, you know, for people to enjoy, my family, my friends, strangers. But I really, through that legacy, I want to be able to continue to affect.
Right.
That's what really has changed in me.
Yes.
It's not really about money. It's about, do I want to hear my song on the radio? Absolutely. I do. Because I know it's going to affect me the same way it might affect somebody else.
Right.
Or it might affect somebody else totally different the way it affects me. But that's a point where you know you've hit a goal.
Right.
You've worked hard towards something and you've reached it. Is it going to happen tomorrow? No.
It takes time. Everything takes time.
Yeah, it takes time. And I can see, again, and this is a great example of this room, is from what it looked like, you know, 5-6 years ago.
Completely blank.
To now, and what happens, and, you know, so it's very,
You have to start somewhere.
You have to. And what I found really interesting in this woman's list is not once in there was have hope.
No, because
it
it's
doesn't
not
do
about
anything
hope.
for you.
You have to believe.
Right. Yeah,
you
hope is like half doubt, half belief.
Right.
It's weird. Like I believe that it's out there, but I hope it happens.
Right.
Well, no, that hope is great. I'm not saying don't have hope. I'm just saying if you really want something,
right,
don't hope, believe.
Yeah, you have to eliminate those limiting beliefs.
Right.
You have to. Like things like I have to work hard to be wealthy. Okay, well, we all have to work hard. If you're going to be lazy, you're not just going to have money fall from the sky. You have to put the footwork into it. You have to make the effort. So those people that are maybe, saying, well, this is the life that I want and I'm trying to manifest it and it's not happening. Well, A, are you doing the work to manifest it? And B, do you believe that it can actually happen?
Right.
And you have to remember too, and sometimes it's hard as humans, that money, love, success, those are not always the most important things in life. There's bigger picture. There's things within things. Like for me, do I want to be successful? Yeah. I don't need people to know me. I don't need to walk on the street and people to know who I am.
Right.
I'm perfectly fine behind a microphone, writing a book so people know these things. But if I can do some change, that's what's important. If I can manifest that kind of life, that's what I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
To where whatever, 5 people, 5,000 people, would I love to have a ton of money? Of course I would. I'd probably spend it a lot different than other people would. Because to be honest with you, if I had a lot of money, I would help with a lot of these things that are going on.
That's where I would like to be, is to be able to give back.
Right. Me too.
That's another big part of me that's changed from 20. Because at 20 you're thinking, I'll buy this, I'm gonna go there. Do
20,
that, blah, blah, blah.
try 40. 40 years old, I was like, I want to be like on a private jet to Vegas and get off with my bling and go into a casino. And now I'm just like, honestly, I just would like a modest house in a nice area with my family where we can be happy and live our dreams.
Right.
That's all I want.
It's totally not.
There's no reason it's not achievable.
It's not achievable. I couldn't think of the word there.
And so that's why we share our story with you, so that hopefully you can watch this transpire. I believe you will. I believe 10 years from now, we'll listen back to this episode and be like, holy beep.
Yeah, I mean, because, you feel like that might come off egotistical, which is not where I'm coming from at all. To say, I will achieve many of these goals, if not all of them.
Yes.
And
nothing egotistical about that.
No, I require, on part of what I do, having a team, and then part of what I do, I don't have to have a team.
Right.
You're more, solidarity too. But, again, it's with them is just, just lead and by example and suggestion, and it's going to go there. Yeah, it's already headed there. I can see the steps in everybody, all the way down to every member of this group was somebody I was hoping would be in this group.
Right.
And here they are.
You manifested that.
Yeah.
You did. I watched you.
Yeah.
You did.
I mean, like I said, there's one other person, and that person is in the loop.
Yeah.
But because we're sort of starting a little bit from the ground up again, which has taken not hardly any time at all, that will be the kind of the last piece. And I know once that piece is in there, it's almost like the engines will turn on, and it's like, here we go.
Yep, it's coming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm totally excited. Don't get us wrong, we're human people. We get discouraged.
Oh, yes, we do.
And you get up every day, and sometimes you don't want to face it. But just like we're speaking into this microphone to tell any of you that might be listening, don't give up on your dreams, just as much as we're telling you, we're telling ourselves.
Yes. The other night we were laying in bed, and I can't remember which one of us said it, but one of us said, "Are we crazy?" And I think it was you. I don't know. I don't remember, but we've been hearing this song, Living on a Prayer, lately. Mm-hmm. And it's the song of right now. We're living on a prayer.
Yeah, whatever the kind of the motto is for the time, we tend to hear repetitive, the songs over and over, the same song over and over.
And this one started
different channels,
very recently.
It doesn't have to be the same channel, but we're hearing them all over, and that's just a sign. It's like letting you know that you're doing right. Yep. Don't give up. Yep. Because if you do,
you'll never know.
You'll never know.
Keep on keeping on.
And you can apply this idea to anything.
Yes.
It doesn't have to be career. It can be a relationship of a loved one. You have an estranged relationship with a parent or a sibling or this or that. This manifestation can be applied to many, if not all, areas of our life.
Yes. Health, too.
Health is a good one. That's a really good one.
Yep. Absolutely. I mean, this is another topic I could just keep talking about, but we're out of time and I got to go to work.
Uh-oh.
And the dog has to come home from daycare. Yeah.
We chattered. All right. Well, thanks. That was cool.
Yeah, that was a good episode. I liked it. I hope that we gave some good tips and that maybe encouraged some people. I know we have some friends personally that are having some issues, and I've been trying to help them too to manifest, and maybe some of this will help.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, before we say adios, would you like to share any of your information?
Yes, let's share. First of all, for our podcast, if you don't follow us on social media, we have a Facebook and an Instagram. Those are at Spiritual Joneses. Our Twitter is at Spiritual Jones. You can go on any podcast platform or YouTube, and you can search us Spiritual Joneses, and we should come up. Let's see. Then as far as for me, I do readings, and then you can find me on the web at SamanthaJonesPsychicMedium.com. I also have a Facebook and an Instagram by the same name, at Samantha Jones Psychic Medium. And yeah.
Cool. If you like art, I am an artist, if you haven't caught that yet.
Yeah.
You can find me on the web at djonesartcollection.com or Facebook and Instagram at djonesartcollection. And you can check out Gypsy Brown and our music, also on the web, gypsybrown.com, Brown with an E. And we are also on Instagram, just Gypsy Brown Music, and Facebook. So check it out.
Yeah.
There'll be a lot of that's old, but don't worry, not going to be long.
Yeah.
Before there's new. And that's it for me.
Yeah. Well, great.
Cool. Well, we appreciate everybody tuning in and listening to this episode.
And go manifest.
Please do it.
And let us know how it goes.
We hope you tune in next week with us for another rousing round of spiritual philosophy chatter.
Yeah.
And until then, peace and love.